crap. I don't know who the hell we think we are when we do something like that.
What's up, fight fans? You're watching The Combat Connection, and we are live on the Cageside Press social media platforms. Joining me today is Eddie Law and Patrick Dana as we break down UFC 324 this weekend. Guys, we got an interim lightweight title on the line between Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje. The old veteran, big right hand versus Paddy Pimblett, who's looked dominant on the ground recently. Eddie, who you got in this main event?
Not Justin Gaethje, I guess. Look, man, anytime we see a matchup like this, it's always the what do they call it in wrestling? Putting someone over. This is the UFC using Justin Gaethje, which is bullshit because he's a company man, done him a million favors. But they're gonna use Justin Gaethje to put over Paddy Pimblett on American soil. He's already a giant European star. There's no doubt about it. We all know that. You make him an American star, money time, baby. Here we go.
And Pat, how do you see this one breaking down?
Yeah, sadly, I'm kind of in the same boat as Eddie here. I mean, I think it's dumb that, Gaethje's being used as a pushover and that, honestly, that he's even in an interim title fight at this point. He should just be in violence kind of fights. And I don't know if this really screams that kind of violence kind of fight. And if it does, I mean, he'll probably win. But I think Paddy's grappling is going to be tough for him. We saw Fiziev get him in like a rear-mounted triangle in his last fight, and Fiziev isn't half the grappler Paddy is. I think Paddy might be able to put him in some uncomfortable positions and maybe get him out of there.
Yeah, and what you just mentioned about him being in more entertaining matchups per se, he did kind of do the UFC a favor in that Max Holloway matchup. Comes back, gets that win back in the win column. Now, they put him into this situation. I think that he really wanted this title opportunity and told them that if Ilia Topuria is out, I'm not fighting unless it's for a belt. And I think that's kind of the situation that he was in here. But the way that I see this one, as you mentioned, Pat, striker versus grappler. Justin Gaethje in his first two UFC title appearances was submitted by Charles Oliveira and Khabib Nurmagomedov. I see a similar situation happening this weekend as Paddy Pimblett is the younger, stronger, more lengthy fighter. And I think he's going to have a significant advantage on the ground, just like he did against Michael Chandler and Bobby Green the last two times out.
Yeah, no, and fully agree with that. Just for the fact that, and Justin said it today. So, oh man, I think it's media. He was talking about like people kind of talk about his wrestling a little too much. We don't see this dude wrestle fucking ever, right?
No,
you gonna need to use that shit now. Like you better dust all that shit off, man. Get your knee pads on, get your knee guards on. You do fucking underhooks, all kinds of shit because Paddy Pimblett is gonna test his ground game, no doubt about it. He's not stupid enough to stand with Justin Gaethje the whole fight. He's not.
Yeah, that was my question to you guys next. If the takedown is stopped by Justin Gaethje, how much of an oh shit moment is this for Paddy to where, are you worried about him on the feet with Justin Gaethje, Pat?
Well, I think that Gaethje cracks. We all know Gaethje has some heavy hands, and Paddy's striking defense, honestly, could be better. I think even Tony, who was pretty washed up at that time, landed some punches on him. All these guys in these fights, like they've been able to land on Paddy a little bit unless he gets them down very quickly. So unless Gaethje, so if Gaethje is able to defend a couple takedowns, I think he might be able to put some real pressure on Paddy, cause some big damage, and he might force Paddy to grapple to the point where Paddy's not even interested in striking at all, and he's just constantly pushing for the takedown.
I could certainly see that. Now, Paddy Pimblett is someone who has commanded attention. He's sold out arenas over in Europe. I don't think that this moment is going to get to Paddy Pimblett. I don't think that this title opportunity is going to be too big for him. Eddie, do you think in his young career, going against a veteran in Justin Gaethje, who's been in those title fights 2-3 times now, do you think this moment might get to Paddy Pimblett? Or is he a personality kind of like Conor McGregor that thrives off of these situations?
Absolutely, positively fucking not. This dude is ready. It is prime. He's in his prime, dude. It is time to cash in. If you didn't watch Paddy Pimblett and Cage Warriors, if you did watch Paddy Pimblett and Cage Warriors, he's fucking ready for this, all right? The guy is like, now I want to say Lamborghini, because Lamborghinis break down. Like, what's a good race car engine that never breaks down fucking ever? Let's go. You know what? Fuck it. Let's just go with like a Toyota Super. Okay, that engine always purring. It's never off. It's never high reps. It's just always purring. That dude is always primed to fight. I know it looks like a fat boy afterwards, right? He blows up like crazy. It's hilarious, whatever, right? But when it comes to getting in the fight, when it comes to throwing down, the moment is never too big for Paddy Pimblett. This guy, I mean, look, think about where he came from. Those crowds that he fought in front of in the UK are wild. That's where all this shit comes from, all right? They're partying on the way to the fight and after the fight. They don't give a shit. So no, the moment is not at all too big for him. It is the perfect time to put a belt around Paddy Pimblett for him and the UFC.
Now, Pat, what do you think about how this fight finishes? Right, we've got Paddy Pimblett. We think that he's the young star rising up here as Justin Gaethje is fading away. I see this fight ending by submission personally. When you go back and look at the Michael Chandler fight, Paddy was able to finish that one by TKO. I don't see Justin Gaethje getting stopped on the ground. I see him getting submitted. Like I said, his last 2 title fight losses were by submission to Charles Oliveira and Khabib. Is that how you see this one going? Do you think Paddy gets his neck, gets him out of there by sub somewhere in this fight?
Yeah, I think once the grappling starts to wear on Gaethje just a little bit, Paddy will start to really attack those submission opportunities, and I think he'll probably look for his guillotines, his rear naked chokes, even a triangle choke. I could see him throwing up something like that. But I do think that I think he'll find a way to capitalize on a potential mistake that Gaethje makes on the ground, and then eventually wrap him up in something and get it done. Maybe even in round 2, 3. I really don't see this one extending past 3 rounds, even if Gaethje does win the fight. I don't really see it extending very long.
Yeah, I'm officially going to go with a round 2 submission victory for Paddy Pimblett. Which way are you going here, Eddie, in terms of method of victory?
Oh, man, I think it's going to be, look, the one thing I know about Justin Gaethje, anytime I go to a fight, cover a fight, watch him from home, he's going to give me one. He's always going to give me one. Do not sleep on this man. He's not going to die easy, right? He ain't gonna go gentle on that until that good night. This motherfucker gonna fight his ass off. Okay, it's gonna be, in my opinion, drag out for as long as Justin Gaethje's there. Drag out, just knock down, brawl out fight, and he, in terms of him, right? In terms of him not wanting to just give up and just lose and everything, or just quit. All right, I don't think it's gonna be a finish in this one. I think it's gonna be a decision victory for Paddy, right? But I think Justin Gaethje is gonna give a hell of a performance because it just feels like. We're at the beginning of 2026. It feels like we're close, or maybe even at the end of Justin Gaethje here. It's just it's really hard to see him fight again when there's not a belt on the line, given everything he's given to the sport, specifically to the UFC.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's taken so much damage in his career. Do we really want to see him go out like BJ Penn or Robbie Lawler? He's someone that the fight fans, expect. And Robbie didn't go out. He had that win over Nico Price and things, but you know what I mean. Going on long losing streaks, taking an extended amount of damage late in your career. But guys, we're supposed to have a historic fight between Amanda Nunes and Kayla Harrison here for the co-main event, but we still have a great matchup that will be the co-main event. Former champion Sean O'Malley is going to be facing upstart Song Yadong as we scroll down to the next fight here. Guys, Sean O'Malley, the length, the athleticism, he's only lost to Merab. I don't see Song Yadong taking him to the ground and really causing the same problems in the grappling that Merab gave Sean O'Malley the last 2 times out. So I see Sean O'Malley kind of picking apart Song Yadong from distance en route to a decision victory if I had to make a prediction in this one.
Yeah, and I think I'm with you there because Corey Sandhagen was talking earlier today. They interviewed him ahead of the fight, and he said, having fought Song, he knows those tendencies, he knows how he fights, and that if Song doesn't get within that kind of range, he's a lot less effective, and he's not going to be the kind of guy to shoot for those takedowns. Well, O'Malley's not a guy that ever gets in range. He sits at range, he sits back, he picks apart his opponent, and as he said, I don't think that Song is going to shoot takedowns. If he did, I think it would maybe just change the pathing of this fight and the way it goes, but I still think O'Malley's going to be landing more impactful shots at range. I think he's going to be able to get his kicks off. If Song is able to get in the pocket, he might cause some trouble, but O'Malley's chin has never shown to be bad. He ate some bombs from Yan. He ate some bombs from Merab.
The knee from Chito Vera.
The knee from Chito Vera. That's the thing. It's like there's nothing that has shown O'Malley's chin is bad, so I don't really see him getting put down in one punch here. If he's motivated, if he's on point, I see him honestly potentially cruising to a decision here, especially with that height and reach advantage.
Yeah, dude. Look, Song Yadong is a heavy hitter. We've seen him crack motherfuckers, dude. And it's not nice when you get hit hard and clean by Song Yadong. It's a bad night for you. Hard and clean getting hit is not a Sean O'Malley fucking trait. That dude is such a sniper from range, just like Pat was saying. He is a sniper, and Song Yadong is a turtle. He ain't going nowhere, right? The one chance I give him is Song's able to get into the body, just like Pat was saying. Get to the body, hit him hard, then drop down, look for those takedowns. Then we're cooking with gas at that point, right? The problem is keeping that going takes so much energy. And Sean O'Malley, you've never seen him even breathing heavy in the freaking cage. That guy is just mentally like primed to just cruise, right? In terms of his cardio, in terms of his heart rate and everything. He's always focused in the fight, even in the fight with Merab. There was no like, oh, fuck. There was, that's near the end, right? When he got hugged a million times. But, there's no panic. There's no, nothing. It's always like, all right, I'm in this spot. You always see what you can see in his eyes, like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get out of spot. All right, let's get back to the striking. The guy's primary to go. This is, in my opinion, set up for Sean O'Malley to win. Straight up. Right? But Song Yadong, he could ruin someone's night, man. He could.
I agree with you. It's kind of set up for Sean, a showcase fight for him. But as you mentioned, Eddie, and to the point about cardio, this one, a 3-round fight comparatively to his last countless fights that are 5-round fights. He's going to take that 5-round cardio into this 3-round fight with Song Yadong. The betting odds for this, we didn't say the betting odds for the first fight, but the betting odds for this one, minus 220, Sean O'Malley, plus 168 for Song Yadong. Does that number surprise you at all, Pat?
No, I think that's about right. That sounds about where I'd line it, in that range for sure. Minus 200 Sean, minus 250 Sean. I think he wins this fight more times than not, for sure. So I think that line's pretty accurate.
Yeah, a similar line there for Paddy Pimblett. If you guys are gambling on the fights this weekend, minus 245 for Paddy Pimblett, plus 186 for Justin Gaethje, if you favor the highlight in that matchup. But we're going to move along down the card here, Eddie, to the next matchup. We have a heavyweight fight here between ranked contenders Waldo Cortes-Acosta and Derrick Lewis. Derrick Lewis has had back-to-back knockout victories over Brazilians Tauson Teixeira and Rodrigo Nascimento, while Waldo Cortes-Acosta has looked very good, in my opinion. And the thing that sticks out to me about Waldo is his mind. I've mentioned this to Eddie on recent shows that we've broken down Waldo's fights. When he fought Robelis de Spain, he showcased his ability to take the fight to the ground against someone who might have a striking advantage against him. And then when he goes against a plotty, strong guy, more of a grappler like Gaziv, he's able to knock him out and showcase his ability on the feet. I really like Waldo Cortes-Acosta in this matchup, but the thing to me that gives me a little cause for concern picking him is Derrick Lewis is a similar stylistic fighter to Sergey Pavlovich, a very hard-hitting, strong-chinned guy. He's going to come forward, very aggressive, trying to get you out of there in the first round. How is Waldo going to look? That was his last loss, was a decision to Sergey Pavlovich. Wasn't the most entertaining fight in the world. I expect fireworks in this one, and I think Waldo Cortes-Acosta is the better athlete at this stage of his career than Derrick Lewis, and I'm going to take him by knockout in the first round.
Go ahead, Pat.
All right. Yeah, no. So this one's interesting to me because I'm honestly not like that high on Waldo. Like I've never seen Waldo fight and been like, yeah, that's a top 5. That's a top 3 heavyweight. The Gaziv KO was awesome, but there's a real argument to be made that he could be 1-3 in his last 4 fights. The Dalia knockout was very controversial. They had to restart the fight. The Pavlovich loss and the Sergey Spivak fight was very close that a lot of people thought he might have lost. So he's 3-1 in his last 4, but there's an argument to say that he's also could have been 1-3. So it's pretty interesting to me with Waldo, but I do think this is a solid stylistic match for him only because he has a great chin. We've seen that. We've seen him eat some big shots. He fought Pavlovich, ate everything he had to offer. And Derrick Lewis is a lower volume kind of striker, and Waldo, I wouldn't say he's high volume, but he's higher volume. And I think that he'll be able to control the pace a bit more, control the minutes. I think he'll win a lot more minutes than Lewis in this fight. If Lewis can land that big knockout shot, it would be pretty awesome to see. But I honestly have Waldo Cortes by decision here. I think he's just going to be landing at a higher output. I don't know if he'll knock out Lewis, but I wouldn't shock me if he was able to break him down later with the volume.
Yeah, dude, look, first of all, when did Derrick Lewis get abs? Or my eyes fucked up?
Yeah, what is going on? I saw some pictures online.
Hey, my boy. Good shape. The other day he was like, what do you say? He said something like, "Oh, the UFC's got me on peptides." Like, nah, bro, I think they got you on Ozempic or some shit like that. My guy, you look good. You look fucking good, my boy. All right, cool. Hey, look, Derrick Lewis is an enigma. He's a weird, came out of nowhere character that we didn't ask for, but we fucking love that we got him because he's amazing on the mic. In the cage, post-fights, pre-fights, you cannot wait to hear Derrick Lewis say words. It's hilarious. Well, the Cortes-Acosta, meanwhile, is like, I Dominica. It's all good. I Dominica. It's all good, And I love him for it, right? But what Derrick Lewis said today at Media Day about Waldo's fight style, he goes, he reminds me of Roy Nelson. Roy Nelson, we all know Roy Nelson's main weapon, overhand right, over and over again. And Waldo's right hand is devastating. If that's all you have to worry about with Waldo Cortes-Acosta, you can have a nice little fight for yourself with Derrick Lewis, because Derrick Lewis has in front of us very slowly and very quietly improved his striking game over and over and over again. and he still got that power. It seems like he's fixed his back issues. You guys remember he had really nasty back issues that took him out of fights and had him fighting like he was like standstill, right? So this is going to be a better fight than I think a lot of people think it's going to be. And I think Waldo's in for kind of a surprise. He's on a roll. We've seen it on the roll. He's got the eye patch thing going great. It's a cool little gimmick. But Derrick Lewis is, I hate to say it, is a different beast, I guess. This is, stupid puns, but still, he's a different kind of guy. So I think it's going to be a much closer fight than a lot of people see or think. And I think Derrick Lewis is going to set himself up for a nice little White House card spot. And meanwhile, Waldo, what's funny? Waldo don't have to worry about a 6'4" giant as shit with an accent. He ain't gonna get fucked with by ice here. We all wait for these motherfuckers. I'm gonna get fucked because I already know I'm a brown dude, right? They don't give a shit, right? But can you imagine a bunch of these like fucking porky assholes that think they're fucking the Gravy Seals coming up with like, hey sir, where are you from? You're from here, my boy. See ya.
Glad to have you.
Yeah, get back in the car, assholes. We're not arresting this fucker. All right. But all jokes aside, Derrick Lewis comes in and it's gonna be a little different. He's not gonna one hit or quit this dude. It's gonna be pop, 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 pop. I think we're gonna see a much more well-rounded Derrick Lewis. I'm excited for this fight, honestly. I mean, among others, but this is one of the fights that got me excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for this fight as well, Eddie. I think this is going to be a gunfight. Like you mentioned, some people think, oh, these guys like Derrick Lewis against Ngannou, maybe not the most necessarily entertaining fight in the world. Waldo and Pavlovich, not the most necessarily entertaining fight in the world. But in this one, both of them have big right hands. The skill sets are somewhat similar. Good chins, big right hands, aggressive. I think these guys are going to come out there and throw and trade in the first minute. Somebody's going to go down. Maybe Waldo catches him with a counter shot. Maybe Derrick Lewis gets Waldo out of there and tests that chin a little better than some people have in the past. We will see. But as far as a betting line is concerned, this is the biggest one we've talked about yet. Minus 330, the favorite, Waldo Cortes-Acosta. Do you think that's a little big there, Pat?
Yeah, I think it's really big, honestly. This feels like the kind of fight that Derrick Lewis would probably land something crazy or just upset and get the win. I don't know. It's just definitely tough for me to say that betting line necessarily represents this fight, because I think Lewis is always live. He's always a live underdog. His power is always live. And in a fight like this, like I said, I haven't been too impressed by Waldo. It feels like a spot that Lewis could easily, pull off the upset. So even though I am picking Waldo, I think that betting line is a bit off, to be honest.
Yeah. You making any bets this weekend, Eddie?
No, dude. I'm a terrible bettor, man. I bet on football. That's it. And it's because like I kind of sort of get that right, but in terms of like fights, I'm just like every time I pick
betting on your Cardinals.
Fuck no, no one's smart based on the Cardinals. Are you kidding me right now? You know what the bet is right now? Hey, the bet is right now, do we get a competent head coach or not? It's fucking not. We're definitely not, okay? But
I don't know who you guys are going to get. Harbaugh's going other places.
Harbaugh's gone. We're not getting McDermott. We're probably looking at that DC.
Stefanski went to Atlanta.
Fucking lucky bastard. That guy,
I didn't hear about Harbaugh. Who got him?
Fuck you. I forgot you were Giants. Anyway, we're going to end up getting some fucking coordinator, and it was going to start this whole cycle over. We might as well have kept Jonathan Gannon at this point. All right, with the names that are coming out, I'm like, should have kept that guy. You stupid. Whatever.
Crazy. But fight fans, we have more fights to break down from this card. This is one of the deepest cards of the year, even losing or cards that's been announced of the year after losing that co-main event. But we go on to another female fight here between ranked contenders. And what is being told is a title eliminator matchup on this card. Natalia, Silva, a streaking contender, a very fast and quick striker, taking on the former champion at 115 pounds, Rose Namajunas. Eddie, what do you think about this one? Rose has been hit and miss since moving to this weight class. Natalia Silva looks like the next best thing coming here in the flyweight division for women's prospects. I see Natalia Silva winning this one by decision. I think she's just going to be too young and too fast for Rose. I hate to say that, but do you see the experience playing a factor at all?
It'll play a factor in terms of if shit gets tough for Natalia, but I don't see it going that way. What Rose Namajunas does really well is the same shit every goddamn fight. And during the fight, if you watch round per round, right, it's like someone just hit and repeat on everything she does. Like you can imagine the fucking dude's Pat, her husband, coach.
Pat Barry.
Barry. Thank you, yeah. Barry. You can see like Barry does that. He yells the exact same instructions over and over. And if it doesn't work out the way they wanted to, he complains at meaty day, UFC 274. But it's just one of those things where all Natalia has to do is watch a fight, and she knows exactly what it's going to do. Game plan around that. Natalia Silva, meanwhile, has weapons that I think we haven't seen yet, and the youth the athleticism, right? Lack of injuries. Rose has had a few. It's all gonna play a factor here, but most of all, to what I wanted to see is Natalia Silva step up in a giant moment for herself. She's fighting the former 2-time champ, Thug Rose. I mean, Thug Rose is a name. Natalia don't even have a nickname yet. It's Thug Rose. Okay, she has done it all. Natalia Silva wins this fight. She raises herself up to that next level. We're talking fights with Blanchfield. We're talking fights with Macy with the title on the line. Honestly, I'm here for it.
I am too. Now, Pat, you are the expert of prospects coming up. Now, Natalia Silva, not necessarily an unknown prospect at this point, but what do you give her chances of obtaining a title at this weight class? She's going to have to go through some historically great fighters, starting with Rose Namajunas. The champion currently is Valentina Shevchenko, Grasso, some other people up there in the division rankings as well. What do you think about her chances of getting to the top at this stage of her career?
I think it's tough because I think people like Figueiredo are a pretty difficult stylistic matchup for her. But I do think that she has a decent chance of becoming champion within the next 2 to 3 years. I think I'd probably put it at probably around 50%, to be honest, just because, we've seen a lot of turnover at the women's divisions, not flyweight necessarily because of Valentina, but we've seen a lot of turnover in the women's division, especially strawweight as of late. And if there is turnover at flyweight, I think Natalia Silva will definitely be one of those champions for sure.
Natalia Silva is riding a 14-fight win streak into this matchup and has not lost since 2017, taking on the veteran Rose Namajunas. Eddie, we've seen performances in the past from champions, Tito Ortiz, Ryan Bader. They can pull out one last hurrah and go out on an exclamation point. Do you think Rose Namajunas can turn back Natalia Silva in this one? I got Natalia Silva by decision. How do you see this one going?
Hang on, check it back to the screen. I was looking at Rosenstrick's arrest record. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I saw it. Looks like he got charged with kidnapping of some sort.
Yeah, he's fucked. He's in
he bit his partner. That's what he did. Yeah.
He
he bit her. Yes, he bit her on her bicep. The police report is out.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I'm not joking. I'm not joking whatsoever.
My boy, you're a heavyweight, dog. You could have done something different.
She called him like a monster or something like that, like a fat monster, and then he just decided to bite her.
I'll show you. I'm a monster.
Yeah. Yes. I wish that was a joke. I wish
domestic violence is never funny. But he bit her. That's fucking hilarious. Okay, that's damn. All right. I forgot the question. Oh yeah,
Luis Severino should train.
At this point, shit. She's gonna get that shit tattooed wherever it was.
Isn't that the dude's name who bit the guy?
Yeah.
Severino.
Yeah, that dude's wild. No, in terms of Rose, can he turn and win the title? But absolutely, she could. But and I hate to use this phrase with a female, but you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And Rose has had no new tricks in the last 6-7 fights. Like truthfully, right? Like when she was super young, when she just first started, right before Pat Barry. Anyway, when she was super young and she was fighting, she had a fight in Invicta where she did a flying armbar and finished the fight in 15 seconds. All right, I was in the crowd for that one. It was insane. All right, that's the Thug Rose I thought we were gonna. That's who she was gonna be. A chick that went for it, went for the kill every time, took chances. She has turned into the exact opposite of that. In my mind, my opinion, the way Natalia Silva fights, if Rose brings that old Rose back, I think she wins. Right. She's going to have to take a chance with Natalia Silva, in my opinion, right? I don't think it's going to happen. I think she's going to just, rinse and recycle and lose another decision. And we're going to be sitting here going is she done? Is she not done? Maybe she goes up to 35. I don't know. But either way, do I think she could? Sure. Do I think she will? Nah.
Which way are you going, Pat?
I'm pretty confident in Natalia Silva here. I think, if she wins this fight, her last 3 wins would be Jessica Andrade, Alexa Grasso, and Rose Namajunas. That's an elite 3-fight win streak. That especially for the weight class, that's an incredible 3-fight win streak. The only issue is her last 5 wins or last 4 wins have come by decision. So I don't know if maybe she tries to put her foot on the gas here, tries to get Rose out of there. I mean, we really haven't seen Rose get finished like that often. So I'd like to think that this will probably just be another Natalia Silva decision. But if she does put her foot on the gas and maybe tries to get Rose out of there, I could see her speed being the biggest issue. I don't know if it's power. I don't know if it's going to be that, but the technique, the speed, I feel like if she really wants to put it on Rose, she might be able to, but I'd probably just stay safe and give Natalia Silva a decision victory in this fight.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. What you just mentioned, the speed is the main factor that when I'm looking at this fight, I think her advantage is just she's going to be way too fast. When I see Natalia Silva, she is just otherworldly levels of speed from the fights that we've seen. She's made the opponents that she's faced look stuck in mud at points. So I think Natalia Silva is one of the most impressive prospects we've seen at women's flyweight here in a couple years. But Eddie, moving on down the card, the next two fights could certainly be main events on any fight night that we have here in the UFC. Arnold Allen versus Gene Silva in a battle here at 145 pounds. Arnold Allen is tough as they come, southpaw from England. He hits hard. We saw him stop Dan Hooker previously in a fight. Gene Silva coming off a knockout loss of his own to Diego Lopez, but previously to that, obviously was on a tear through this division, has submission grappling ability as well. We saw him choke out Bryce Mitchell. He finishes Melsik Baghdasaryan with punches, and Melsik's a very great striker in his own right. What do you think about this one, Pat? This is my pick for fight of the night. I don't know really which way I'm going here. I'm favoring Gene Silva by decision. I can't see one of these two guys stopping the other. They're just so tough. Arnold Allen in that fight versus Max Holloway, his best round was that 5th round against him. So he is a tough individual that can overcome adversity and learn as a fight progresses. I want to go with Gene Silva in this matchup by decision. Which way are you going, Pat?
I think this fight might have the biggest impact out of most on the card, only in terms of where these guys' careers are going with a win and a loss. A win for one of these guys could easily put them in the title picture. I mean, we know the UFC likes excitement. Depending on how exciting this fight is, we could see them skip Lerone Murphy, skip Movsar Evloev, and get a title shot, which I don't agree with, but we know how the UFC has been with the excitement aspect of it. And the loser of this fight, they're going to drop pretty far down to the point where we're going to start to question if they ever get a title shot, if they'll ever see a top 5 ranking in the future. You know, Arnold Allen has already been around for a bit. Silva's on the way up. It's a really weird fight for me because I think Allen's a better technical striker, but we saw that against Melsik too. It didn't matter. You know, Gene Silva just cracked him and that was it. We have seen Arnold have tendencies to get hit in the past. Silva, if he does land some of these shots, I could see him putting Arnold Allen down. This is one I've really been going back and forth on lately. I don't have really much confidence with this prediction, but I'd say I think Gene Silva probably wins by KO. I think he probably lands a big strike. We've never really seen Allen get knocked out, so it is a bold prediction, but Allen also is so inactive. I feel like the ring rust is going to catch up to him eventually. He's eaten some big shots, and I think Silva's power is legit. So I think Gene Silva might knock him out in this fight.
Damn.
That would certainly be something. And as I looked at the betting odds here, fellas, minus 310 for Gene Silva. I would expect that to be a little closer. I think Arnold Allen, as Pat just said, I know you picked him to lose by knockout, but you also eloquently told how good his chin is. He's got one of the best chins in this division, and I think it's going to be hard for Gene Silva to get him out of there. We saw Diego Lopez take those shots from Gene Silva. When he's moved up here in competition against top 5 guys, against top 10 guys, he has not proven that he's that same knockout artist than he is against the Bryce Mitchells and the Melsik and the guys like that as he's moving up this division. If he gets a statement win over Arnold Allen, he proves that in one night, no doubt about it. But Arnold Allen, to this point, to your point, has never been finished by knockout. And Gene Silva would have to be the first person to do so. And Gene Silva's, in his own right, just been knocked out in his last fight. Eddie, which way are you going in this one?
So here's where I'm with this one, because just like, you know, Pat, I'm kind of going back and forth on this. Arnold Allen likes to take over with pace, right? He uses his discipline, the pace and everything. It's always kind of like a measured kickboxing game, right? Just jabs, low kicks, straight lefts. He doesn't get sucked into any kind of brawls. He doesn't like to do that, right? Then what he's going to use against Gene Silva, try to use against Silva, is takedowns and clinch work. Not because he actually wants to take him down. It's a ploy to slow him down. Why? Because when you get Silva to miss, what happens? Tired as fuck. And then he's missing even more. And then once you're tired, those punches, they lose a lot of power. This is a 3-round fight, boys. This is not one of those things where it's going to be like John Silva is going to be like, I need to save some power for the 4th and 5th round. No, he's going to go in there trying to kill Arnold Allen. And Arnold Allen is not an idiot. He knows that's coming. So we're going to see a lot of clinching, a lot of pressing Silva against the fence, trying to keep away from that power, right? For John Silva, he likes to force his opponents backwards with aggression. He's an aggressive striker. He's not a guy that's going to let you breathe. He's a pressure fighter. Why? Because when he gets you moving backwards, setting up those early knockouts is easy for him, and it's clean shots too. So can Allen weather that storm or in the first round? Basically, if he can weather that first round storm, assuming Silva comes out like a psychopath, can he avoid getting knocked out? Silva, does he have the gas tank in this fight to go hard for all 3 rounds, right? Or is he smart enough to pace himself a little bit? And who's gonna land the most damage, right? So this is a fight, just like you guys were saying. This could be fight of the night. I could see it being fight of the night for sure. Now, what I want to see from Silva is that he is more intelligent now than he used to be. I don't want to see, as much as we love seeing John Silva be a psychopath and come out and try to kill somebody, I want to see him a little more measured in this one, right? Yeah, just save the gas thing a little bit. Just strike with him a little bit here in the first round, clinch a little bit, give Arnold Allen a different look than he expected to see in this fight, and then knock him the fuck out in the second round, which I think is what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a car crash. I think these are 2 of the most stubborn and tough individuals in this weight class. Both of them go in there and are finishers at times. I think that we're going to be in for a treat in this one. Pat, you said which way did you say you're going? Gene Silva by decision?
Yes. No, by KO. By KO. But to your point about the betting odds, you said Gene Silva is upwards of -300 for this fight.
330.
I'm still pretty 50-50 on this. I'm still.
That's what I'm saying. I figured it'd be 2-1 or so.
So betting odds wise, Arnold Allen is the clear bet here in my
100%.
opinion. He's a massive value at the current odds. I do not see this being a -300 favorite kind of fight, similar to the Waldo and Derrick Lewis fight. Only I think this one actually was probably closer on paper in a sense.
Yeah. Okay, and if someone told you that Arnold Allen won this fight by decision, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Best nickname ever, the Team Fight Turds. I hate that because I love the fighting nerds, but Team Fight Turds is clean with it. And a pretender and not a contender?
Yeah, what did you guys think about this one? Because I did mention that he hasn't shown that same finishing ability at the top yet than what he showed in the mid-level fights. Do you think this is really that statement win he needs?
Yes. Just like Pat said, whoever loses this one is going to the back of the line, and then they're going to put a sticker on him do not promote.
Yeah.
Forced fail.
That's my biggest thing with this fight is I think this is the fight to tell us how good Silva is really going to be at the 145-pound division. And if he loses, I don't know if I ever see him getting back up to this point. And if Arnold Allen loses, I don't think he does either. So it's that kind of fight. It has a lot of heavy implications.
Was just going to say a lot of implications in this matchup. A ranked 145-pound fight here on the UFC 324. Is this the first fight of the main card, fellas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, on the prelims here, guys, we have Umar Nurmagomedov versus Deivison Figueiredo, former champion at 125 pounds, Deivison Figueiredo, taking on Umar Nurmagomedov, whose only loss is to former champion Merab Dvalishvili, trying to get back towards that championship picture against Peter Yan, who just recently took that belt from Merab. Guys, if you want to talk about betting odds, this is one of the crazier odds that I've seen here in the last calendar year. Minus 1,600 for Umar Nurmagomedov versus the former champion Deivison Figueiredo. I know Deivison Figueiredo did not look good against Corey Sandhagen. He hasn't looked the best the last couple times out. But for a 16-1 odds on a guy who used to be a former champion and does have finishing ability in those hands and might have I don't think he's going to outstrike Umar on the feet, but if he loses this fight, I see him getting out-grappled.
You talking about who gets out-grappled? Umar?
I say Deivison probably gets out-grabbed,
okay.
loses this fight, but being 16-1 as a former champion is just that's crazy to me. That's like what Bo Nickel was versus Val Woodburn.
I mean, Umar should bore us to a win here. I mean, I don't see. I mean, and I hate to call Umar boring, but he fucking is. In fact, Gabriel asked him today. He's just like, do you think you need to be able to talk and also start to promote yourself and everything? And Umar was like, you need to be able to talk, brother. Yes, but not talk too much. I'm not chill son and all this shit. And I'm sitting there bored out of my fucking mind listening to the goddamn clip. And so I'm like, bro, what? You're not giving me a reason to give a shit about your fight at all right now. It's going to be the same old boring ass Umar Nurmagomedov. So it's going to be on Figgy to pull some shit off here.
Pat, how do you see this one going?
I almost slightly disagree with Eddie, just in the sense that I think it's up to Umar to make a statement here. He's fighting a former champion. He's only went to decision in his past couple fights. He had that great KO over Raoni Barcelos and then hasn't really gotten that close to finishing any of these fights since then. I think this is a big spot for Umar to step up as a minus 1,600 favorite and try to get Figgy out of there. I know it's only a 3-round fight, so it's going to be tougher. If it was 5 rounds, I'd be a bit more confident saying maybe Umar could. I don't know if he will. I'm probably just going to stick to Umar by decision here. But at the same time, I think that Umar is going to need to show something big in order to get that fight with Yan, something big to get that title shot, because I don't know how the UFC feels about him right now. I think he's in a weird spot. I mean, he's on the prelims here in a potential number 1 contender fight. You know, I mean, I guess Figgy might not be in a number 1 contender situation, but Umar's ranked what, number 2 at 135 pounds, number 3, and
he'd be a betting favorite versus the champion.
Yeah, and he's on the prelim, so I feel like to really make a statement, to really say, hey, I'm next in line for this title fight, I think that Umar's going to need to make a statement. So whether that's actually finishing the fight or just dominating Figgy for 15 minutes, I think that Umar's going to need to really do something here to make us be like, yeah, that guy could be a future champion, you know?
Yeah, great points there, Pat. And as we look at the champion right now, Peter Yan, he had to match up against Sean O'Malley that was highly controversial. We have Sean O'Malley on this card, and then you have a matchup with Umar Nurmagomedov that would sell very well in Europe, as we have 2 fighters from the Russian region. Eddie, who do you think gets the title opportunity out of this fight, out of this card this weekend? Do you think if Umar is impressive enough against Figueiredo, he can jump Song Yadong and Sean O'Malley, who are the co-main event?
Hell no. You fucking kidding me? Like,
so if we have a snoozer between those 2 guys in the main event and Sean technically kickboxes him and wins 29-28 or something, and then Umar goes out here and flatlines Deivison Figueiredo, do you think Umar can still get that title opportunity before Sean?
Fuck no. I mean, what are we talking about here, right? Do you know how much the UFC doesn't like Umar Nurmagomedov? Like, a lot doesn't like Umar Nurmagomedov. This dude is just his best. Like, to them, he's barely above Movsar Evloev. And I know you like Evloev and all that shit, but he's just as boring as this motherfucker. All right, straight up. Umar's just barely above this dude. If Umar wants to impress the UFC, all right, knock this dude the fuck out. Finish him. Do something, right? What does Movsar do all the time? Oh, you know, we got to finish the fight. I'm going to try to finish the fight. I'm a finisher. No, the fuck you're not. You haven't finished shit. And you haven't finished yourself, all right, or anything.
10 UFC fights. He doesn't have a finish.
Fucking ever. All right, Umar's just barely above that shit. All right, that whole like, oh, your boys with Khabib and all that. That's only gonna get you so far. Your lesson Nurmagomedov, that's only gonna get you so far, because what Khabib did is not just dominate and embarrass, but finish guys over and over and over again. Right? Sure, he has some decisions in there. Sure, great, right? But he got the biggest finish of probably all time. Right? Making Conor McGregor look like a little bitch, going, no, it's just business. That's what happened in that one. So, at the end of the day, no. Umar could flatline Figgy, and he would have a chance, but he's not going to get a title shot off that. He's going to have to give me another one of those, and then Dana's going to be like, all right, fine. I'll get out of the stupid ice tub and go promote your ass.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him needing a couple more victories, but I'm going to take Umar Nurmagomedov in this one, 2nd round submission. I'm sure you guys are going to do something pretty similar.
I go decision.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with the safer pick, I'd say, an Umar decision. But like I said, I really would like to see him kick up the gears and really push for a big finish here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would as well. It would certainly be a statement win for him as he tries to move back towards a title. But guys, as we move down here, we have a light heavyweight matchup at 205 pounds between Modestas Bukauskas, who has come back from Cage Warriors and won 4 fights in a row. And he's going to be fighting Nikita Krylov, who recently was knocked out pretty brutally by Dominic Reyes. We've seen Nikita Krylov go and compete at the very highest level. In earlier points of his career, he was a very athletic and talented fighter in this weight class. But I think Modestas Bukauskas, since coming back from getting cut by the UFC, having to go fight on the regional scene again, then coming back in what he's showcased in these last 4 fights, I think he's younger. I think he's got a better chin at this point. I think he's more athletic. And I'm going to take Modestas in this one by knockout because I think Nikita Krylov's chin might be suspect at this point in his career.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, in my opinion, there's no question that Krylov is not what he used to be. At one point, I really thought he might have been a dark horse at light heavyweight. He might be a guy that, his skills could really match up well against Perez. And then he got hurt, took 2 years off, comes back, gets flatlined by Reyes, comes back again, gets knocked out by Bogdan Guskov. And it's like, I I don't see Krylov, and he hasn't looked good in either of those fights. He hasn't looked good. I don't think he's the same fighter anymore. He's 33 years old, so the age isn't even really a thing, but I think the experience of having 40 plus fights is really starting to show at this point. And I think that, I don't know, Bukauskas, like you said, has came back from Cage Warriors. He's looked the part. He's on a 4-fight winning streak. I mean, he's had 6-1 UFC record since coming back. He's looked great, but it's been against a lower level of competition for sure. So that's where I'm a little bit split on this, because I think Krylov's definitely on the way down and Modestas has been on the way up, but is the break in competition going to be enough? I think I do lean Modestas to win this fight still. I think we're probably going to see some clinch work, and, he likes to work in the clinch. I think he's going to try to, keep Krylov as least dangerous as possible, but I don't know. This is a tough one for me. I think I do lead Modestas to get this fight done.
Did you have Modestas winning that fight versus Ion Cutelaba, Pat?
I did, but I completely understand that people saw it the other way. A lot of people thought Cutelaba won that fight, and I don't mind that at all. I thought it was a very close fight that could have went either way. But I think Modestas wins a decision here. I think he's going to grind out Krylov. I think he's going to try to avoid as many dangerous situations as possible and just try to, continue winning, get that ranking next to his name, and continue pushing up the division.
Yeah, I think so too. Eddie, how do you see this one going?
Same. I have nothing to add on that one. It's the same. Honestly, the biggest thing out of this fight for me is that Modestas Bukauskas was making more excuses for Tom Aspinall, and Tom Aspinall was making for Tom Aspinall. I was like, he's so upset. No, his eyeballs. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here back here going, do not give a shit.
All right, boys, we got a couple more fights we got to talk about before we get into some breaking news from earlier today. We got a big headline coming out of the PFL, but Alex Perez, veteran of the sport, 25-10, takes on Charles Johnson, fellow veteran. Charles Johnson, guys, has a big knockout victory on his record over the current champion, Joshua Van. I think the UFC is trying to streamline Johnson back into contention to give him a chance to redeem himself for his career, basically, and get into that big title opportunity against Joshua Van, a guy he knows he can beat and is knocked out in a fight that was a really good fight. If you haven't seen that, go back and watch it. Johnson lost the first 2 rounds on my scorecard. Joshua Van kind of gassed later in the third, and Charles Johnson was able to get that knockout victory in that 3rd round. I got him winning this one by decision. I think Alex Perez is a very tough customer. He's not going to go down easy. But at this stage of his career, I think Alex Perez has seen better days. And Charles Johnson, as I just mentioned, I think he has a point to prove with Joshua Van being the champion right now and wanting to get back towards the top.
Here, you can go.
All right, here's the thing about Charles Johnson. First, Alex Perez, I need you to knock that silly haircut out this motherfucker. All right, like, I don't know what the hell is going on right there, bro. Charles, my guy, tap to the baldness. I shaved my head on purpose. I could grow an afro if I wanted to. All right, but if I was balding for real, I would share that should be gone, my boy. All right?
He's got an afro this time?
No, I said I could grow an afro. I really could. I shaved my head on purpose because I'm in Arizona.
I thought Johnson had like a rat tail mullet type thing.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, bro. Yeah. Get rid of that shit. What the fuck? Anyway, no, just kidding. We got to hit up. Who's his boy? We know this guy. Fuck. We work with him. Anik. Thank you, Anik. I'm gonna hit up Anik, but hey, tell Charles he wants to win. Anyway, no. All jokes aside, 100%. This is a fight set up to start getting Charles Johnson back up towards that ladder. Not really set him up because they want him to go up there, but they're like, but when you have a new champion, you try to set up as a promoter, you try to set up different storylines. Like, all right, let's get Charles going over here. Let's get this guy going over here. Let's get this guy going over here. Let's see what they do. And then you build up while waiting for Pantoja to come back and get his belt back or try to get his belt back. So what I could see, this fucking guy, what I could see is I absolutely see Charles Johnson winning this fight. I think Alex Perez is kind of, has no momentum whatsoever. So that's kind of how it's going to go. And I don't even want to talk about like the technical aspect of it. This fight is legitimately set up for Charles Johnson to win.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Charles Johnson is definitely set up to win this fight, but I do think Perez is a bad stylistic matchup for him. I think there's definitely easier fights for Charles Johnson in the top 15. I just think the styles clash a bit there, and I think Perez is going to give him some trouble. But I think Charles at this point, he's a vet of the game. He's fought some tough guys. I mean, Perez has too, but I feel like Charles is probably going to be able to just get through the challenges that Perez presents. I mean, Perez is 1-5 in his last 6 fights. He's fought top competition, but he's just been getting finished for the most part, to be honest. So that's why it's really tough. But I don't love the stylistic matchup, but like you said, Eddie, set up for Charles Johnson to win, and I think he will find a way to get it done.
Fight fans, we're going to talk about 2 more fights on this card, break down the prelims. We're not going to talk about those first 2 early prelims. We got some more stuff to get to. But Michael Johnson will take on Alexander Hernandez. Alexander Hernandez, guys, is riding a 4-fight win streak into this one. He just had a big win at UFC Noche that has pushed him back towards the rankings in this weight class. You know, for me, Eddie, I see this one as a step down in competition for Alexander Hernandez. I think he's fought better guys recently than what Michael Johnson has shown. I know Michael Johnson's coming off a win, but he is very hit and miss. Now, the thing for Alexander Hernandez is even since his debut, right? He comes in his debut, he beats Beneil Dariush by knockout. Everybody's like, this is the new kid on the block. Then he loses a couple fights that he maybe shouldn't have lost. He kind of gets put into these trap fights and doesn't necessarily come out. I think that he fights to the level of his competition at times, is how I want to say it. And I think this could be a trap for him against Michael Johnson. That's what I'm concerned about. But on paper, I'm going to probably go with Alexander Hernandez. As I mentioned, I think he's fought better competition recently, and he's got more miles on the tires left than Michael Johnson.
So Michael Johnson's kind of doing like a resurgence of sorts, right? 3 in a row. Darius Flowers, Otman Azaitar, and Zellhuber, right? He just beat Zellhuber, which I was surprised to beat Zellhuber. I did not see that coming at all. So this is the UFC going, all right, Mike. All right. We kind of punked you a little bit, giving you Nate Diaz and getting you owned back in the day. And that dude changed his entire life by beating your face in for fucking 3 rounds. All right, cool. We'll do you a solid. You got 3 in a row. You beat this guy right here. This guy's on a roll. He's got momentum. He's got fire. He's got rhythm. All right. Go ahead and go beat this guy. Go do your thing. For Hernandez, it's the same thing as everybody else. Use Michael Johnson as a step up, take his 3-fight win streak away from him, right, and move up the ladder. It's just basic. I call it pro wrestling math.
Yeah, no, well said. I think this is kind of the UFC throwing a bone over to Michael Johnson. You know, they want to thank him for all his years of hard work, you know, being a solid fighter in the division. Like you said, he is on a 3-fight win streak, but 2 of those wins, in my opinion, the Zaitar and Flowers wins, are like, neither of those guys were UFC caliber when he fought them, in my opinion. So the Zellhuber win was super impressive. I think he matched up well against Zellhuber. He looked great in that fight. But I also agree with Brett that this is a step down for Hernandez. I think Hernandez should have probably been knocking on the door of a top 15 fight, and this doesn't really scream that to me. But getting a veteran name on his resume like Michael Johnson, fans know who Michael Johnson is. I feel like it's going to be like Eddie said, a stepping stone for Alex Hernandez. So pretty much basically what Eddie said for the most part.
Yeah, and as I'm looking at the last 3 names on Alexander Hernandez's record here, fellas, Diego Ferreira, Chase Hooper, and Kurt Holloway. All 3 of those guys I would have to assume would be betting favorites against Michael Johnson. So maybe it's a step down in competition for Alexander Hernandez, but he's going to have to mind his P's and Q's against the tricky Michael Johnson, who's a southpaw with big power in that left hand if he hits you with that straight punch. Moving on down to our last fight of the card that we're going to break down here. We're going to talk about Josh Hokit.
I knew you were going to do that shit. This motherfucker's obsessed with Josh Hokit.
His MMA debut.
This guy's upset with Josh fucking Hokit.
Hokit.
Hey, we're trying to start a race war with this fight, Eddie.
That's exactly what's happening. You see this shit? I can't wait for the shit talk. Like, you know what?
Right,
hey,
so
real quick.
Down, Josh Hokit,
real quick.
The professional athlete with the 49ers.
Wait, what? The 49ers. Oh, man, I thought we started talking about some football shit. You started giving me PTSD, my boy. All right, no. Fucking the Predators tomorrow night. All right, Dana, I'm going to throw you a solid. In fact, I know you're not going to be there. John Anik, fuck what Dana said. Take 2 of whoever, the most boring, Umar and whoever the fuck else he's fighting, get him out of there. Bring in Josh Hokit and Denzel Freeman, and then shut the fuck up.
Just let them go at it.
Oh, yeah.
And I hate to see Josh Hokit not. Was he at Media Day today? Did he?
Yes.
No, hell no.
He wasn't?
Was he?
Oh, I thought he was supposed to be. Maybe not.
Let me look it up. I know Gabriel sent me the fucking list. I might have missed it because I was editing all fucking day. But
certainly interested to see what Josh Hokit has said during Media Day if he did attend the Media Day.
No, he didn't do it.
Okay.
But me and Pat Dan were at his first fight there with Bellator. He is a guy who comes over from a professional football background. He's an elite level athlete, and he does have grappling experience as well. We've seen him win fights with Americanas and straight arm bars, something that, debuting fighters don't normally pull off on a Bellator stage. So Josh Hokit is an elite athlete. He does have skills to back it up as well. But he's going to be taking on Denzel Freeman, guys, who is a very tough customer. He's an imposing athlete, and he's somebody that's probably going to be the toughest competition that Josh Hokit's faced in his career thus far. So what do you think about this matchup? Do you think Josh Hokit breezes through Denzel Freeman, or do you think there's a lot of resistance in this one?
Ooh, that's a good question. So have you guys seen Denzel Freeman fight?
Yeah.
He just fought in the UFC recently.
Yeah. He's not an easy guy to beat, right? But I like Josh Hokit's athleticism in this one for sure. I think it's gonna be fun. I don't know. You know, let Pat go. He knows way more about Josh than I do. Go ahead.
Pat's the residential prospect.
Well, I'm pretty familiar with both of these guys. So I've been to 3 of Hokit's 7 fights. I've been there in person, watched Cageside. I'm very familiar with Hokit. I've interviewed him. And Freeman was someone that I taped expecting him to be in the UFC before this year. This was going to be an LFA title fight if it didn't happen in the UFC. If they didn't sign these guys, this was going to be the LFA title fight.
This is the LFA title fight, right? Let's call it that.
It basically is. No, seriously. But I mean, Freeman's debut is terrible. Freeman's debut was awful against Bukauskas. He did not look good. He didn't do really anything. He just did more than the nothing that his opponent did, who ended up getting cut right after the fight.
Yeah.
And my biggest issue with Freeman is that, I don't know, like as his career's gone on, he's had some really shaky performances. I liked how he looked earlier in his career better than I like how he's looked recently. And Hokit is definitely on the way up, in my opinion. I mean, he got a first minute finish over Max Jimenez, who I really don't think was a great opponent either, but he did show the striking. He did knock him out on the feet, which is something he never showed before. I think Hokit's training with a good camp in Jackson Wing. I think he's learning. I think he's on the way up. He's a couple years younger, I want to say. I think Freeman's 33. He's 28. So there's an age difference here. There's an explosive difference here. I think Freeman's a lot more reserved. I think Hokit is a lot more explosive. So I think there will be some resistance, but ultimately, I do think Josh Hokit probably walks away with the win here. I think this is a setup fight from the UFC to continue pushing Hokit through the heavyweight division, because they need guys who, whether people like them or not, they need someone that people are going to be hearing. He talks, he's entertainment, and that's what the UFC needs. Freeman hasn't proven that he's that yet, but the skill sets are interesting because Freeman's wrestling will counter Hokit's pretty well, and the striking on the feet will be interesting as well. Freeman has some good kicks. Hokit has seemingly been working on his striking. It's a very weird fight, I'm not going to lie, but I think Hokit probably gets it done just based off, like Eddie said, the athleticism, the youth, and just the explosiveness, honestly.
Look, the UFC would be stupid not to push Hokit a little bit, right? I mean, the guy, look, what do we say all the time to fighters? Promote yourself. The Dana's not going to do it for you. I know he's technically a promoter, but he's fucking not. So promote yourself, right? Hokit, masterful at it. As much as I can't stand the stupid ass character he plays, I love that he's doing it. Wear the dumbass Hulk Hogan bullshit with the glass and all that. Say, give the cheesy fucking lines. It works. You know who it worked for? Chael Sonnen. And that guy talked himself into like 3 title fights by talking. Colby talked himself into 3 title fights.
Yep.
Or 2,
whatever. A lot of people like comparing him to Colby, but I mean, look at where Colby's career went, and at heavyweight, especially right now, we need guys like that are going to bring.
Colby's still ranked in the top 10, and he hasn't fought in 3 years.
Exactly. The UFC loves Colby, and that's the thing. And even Sean Strickland, he talks, and the UFC likes it, So that's the thing, is people that can entertain, get people going, and just, even if they're saying controversial stuff, that's what they want, and that's what Hokit is. So, and
that's exactly what they're going to push him here. Now, this is a good fight. Don't get it twisted. Denzel could absolutely win this fight, right?
Yes, definitely.
He could absolutely win this fight, but I just don't see it. I love the momentum Josh Hokit has. I love the fact that he's willing to throw himself into the fire, or even start the fire himself to get you to fight. I just want him to fight Denzel and beat him so he can go fight Stephen Aspin at some point. I want to see that.
Yes,
fucking
that's
matchup.
what I was just going to say. I about interrupted you last time you started talking, Eddie, because I was about to blurt out, we got to have Aspin and Hokit.
Yeah.
These guys are 2 talked about contenders coming up here. They both fought in the LFA too, didn't they, Pat?
Yeah.
Yes.
They were supposed to fight.
Well, Freeman beat Aspin in the heavyweight title fight to win his title. So, yeah, I mean, that all those fights, like, there's a bunch of LFA heavyweights that got signed recently that all probably would have fought each other had they not got signed. So it definitely is interesting, though, because they're guys that probably should have been signed. Freeman was the champ, Hokit's entertainment, and Aspin is just a dog. It's very, very solid upcomers.
Hey, he's trailer park tough, man. A lot of people like him.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want Hokit to get to that fight. That's the fight I want to see. I want to see Aspin doing this shit the whole time. Be fucking hilarious.
Guys, we don't have this on the rundown, but we got to talk about it. And Perez brings it up. Gabriel Stevenson. Now, I'm not talking about the winner taking on Gabriel Stevenson here, but let's talk a little bit about Gabriel Stevenson because he did put out these videos with John Jones recently. Now, I don't know if necessarily if John Jones is the best person to be learning life lessons from and hanging out all the time and being buddies with. Who knows what these two are getting up to? Maybe Gabe will pop hot for something here recently. Who knows? But Gabriel Stevenson, to me, is the most talented heavyweight prospect I've seen maybe in my life. And especially since Cain Velasquez, certainly. He's got heavy hands. He's the best athlete in this weight class right now, UFC or not UFC. Best MMA competitor athlete right now at that weight class, maybe ever. And the thing for me is, guys, he's got to get to the UFC pretty soon. And if Dana or somebody gets him on the Contender Series here in the first year for Paramount Plus, I think that would be a huge deal moving forward. Do you guys see him coming to the UFC maybe next fall during the Contender Series, something that you probably will be covering in person, Pat?
Yeah, no, I definitely see him coming over to the or if not, just getting signed straight. The only reason he would go through Contender Series is the experience aspect. Putting him against another heavyweight that is UFC caliber, because I don't even know what that means anymore. But putting him against another solid heavyweight to get him that experience. But he's fighting in Mexico Fight League now out of nowhere, which is very interesting, against an 11-3 opponent who he's probably just going to run through. So
I like he's picking up experience though.
That's what's needed. He needs to pick up that experience. Just needs to get more time in the MMA cage, get more comfortable. But I mean, Gabriel Stevenson's the best heavyweight prospect that we've had in a pretty damn long time. I'd say honestly, probably since like Cyril Gane came over to the UFC. We haven't seen a prospect.
He beat Cyril Gane today. In my opinion, I'd bet on him to beat Cyril Gane today. I think he'd put Cyril Gane on his ass, just like John Jones. Listen, he's learning from a guy who submitted Cyril Gane in a minute, So
you're not the first person I've seen say that, but also I see people saying he gets submitted by Walter Walker. So
yeah.
What'd you say, Pat?
You're not the first person I've seen say that, but I've also seen people saying he'd get submitted by Walter Walker. So I really I don't know.
Maybe, but there are tricky matchups everywhere. But
yes.
Pat, I got to ask you guys about this because this was really the headline that came to me when I saw this in the chat. Matt Brown said that he would be the champion right now to MMA Junkie. He said right now Gabriel Stevenson would be the champion at the UFC heavyweight division currently. Is that what you guys are seeing?
Not yet. I can't say that I see that based on who the guys he's fought so far. All the guys he fought were pushovers. They were all guys that he was supposed to run through the exact way he did. I mean, even Steven Asplin's teammate Isaiah Gomez just fought at LFA against Braden Peterson, the same guy that Gable fought in his debut, and he beat him in a minute too. These are not good quality fighters he's fought yet, to be quite honest. So I really can't sit here and be like, yeah, he'd be the champion right now. But do I think he'd be ranked? Yes. Do I think he'd be top 10? Probably. And do I think that if he got the experience against those guys, he could make a title run? 100%. So I think it's more just about building that experience and seeing more from Gable as time goes on.
So it's marketing. It is absolutely, in my opinion, it's complete marketing. Okay, think of it this way. Okay. Stat padding. Okay. And I hate to say that he's padding his record here, but I have a sneaking suspicion that Johnny Bones Jones is his manager and not, these guys. So what it looks like to me, if you look at his last fights, right now, again, I'm not expecting Gabriel Stevenson to come into the MMA and fight the champion of the UFC right away. That makes no sense. Okay. But if you look at the guy he's fighting, 11-3 short, don't know anybody in this dude's record whatsoever. Meanwhile, Gabriel Stevenson, the Braden Peterson first round knockout, it was fucking beautiful. Then he goes and fights Billy Swanson at Dirty Boxing.
Or Dirty Boxing, yes.
Yeah. Then that Kevin Hine knockout at Anthony Pettis. Okay. The one answer I've gotten when I ask people about those fights are, who the fuck did he fight? Okay. He didn't fight Steven Aspen in LFA. He didn't fight Denzel Freeman, right? He didn't come in and fight Josh Hokit. He fought Braden Peterson, who looks like he got off his fucking truck, got in, fought, got knocked out, got back in his truck to go deliver his load in Dallas. Okay. I'm not shitting on Braden Peterson. Okay, just relax. But
he's a journeyman, though. But
he's a journeyman.
Yes.
Like, he's the definition in LFA, a journeyman. Okay. Keep that in mind. Okay. So he goes down to Mexico, fights a guy with a nice looking record that has fought nobodies. He's going to go down there. He's going to dominate and destroy, come back up like, see, I got that first round knockout against 11-3 guy. What's up? Then they'll give him another one, another no-name guy with another nice record, knock him the fuck out or whatever he's going to do. And I think he's going to go to Contender Series because you're not going to fool like Mick Maynard. You're not going to fool Sean Shelby or Dana White into thinking that that's a legit record he's going to have. They can be like, no. come to Contender Series. We'll get you through there. You're going to fight someone we set up, not John or not your management. You're going to fight someone we set up. You beat this guy, no problem. No problem. The only caveat I put out to that is if he has, like, if he almost kills this dude in Mexico, right? This Hugo Lezama guy, all right? If he nearly kills him, right? And there's a short notice fight available, why not? Why not? Because there's going to be video of this fight. You can throw that on any fucking highlight reel you want.
Well, here's my thing, guys, and we're going to talk about, we'll just segue right into our next topic here. I think that if you're looking at him as a prospect, the most identical prospect that you can look at him body type-wise, background-wise, is Daniel Cormier. Now, Daniel Cormier came up and won a Strikeforce tournament where he beat Josh Barnett, Bigfoot Silva, and I believe Andrey Arlovsky. But he got tested real early out the gate, passed all those tests very, very quick in dominating fashion. I think if Gabriel Stevenson went to the PFL and did a PFL World Tournament where he fought, say, Romanov, Popov, Golsov, and he got through all three of those guys, got himself $1 million or $500,000 or whatever they're paying, or they're not doing tournaments anymore, but you know what I'm saying. If he went over to the PFL, fought those three type guys, got that experience, won a belt over there, became a moneymaker, became a champion, and then went over to the UFC, just like Daniel Cormier, as a certified star and champion coming into the promotion, I think that one, he'd get paid more when he came in and he wouldn't have to go to a Contender Series. And I think he'd get that needed experience and dust through those guys, where maybe, like you're saying, with a Walter Walker or someone, he might get tripped up inside the UFC. Do you think that he should go to the PFL? And if I'm the PFL, I think he's the number one prospect I need to sign right now.
The thing is, I don't think he would go to the PFL. That's my only thing. I think the unwritten or unsaid thing through all of this is that he's on a developmental deal with the UFC. I mean, I really do think that he's already signed to the UFC as much as someone could be that's not actually on the roster. And I think they're really just waiting for the right moment to be like, all right, come on up, come to DWCS, come to the roster, whatever it is. But I really do think he's on some kind of developmental deal with the UFC. And I think that he's probably not going to fight anywhere else, especially being headed by John Jones. I don't think Jones is going to want him to fight anywhere else.
If you're the UFC, you're a fucking idiot if you let him wear PFL gear ever.
That's my thing.
And think about all the money that the PFL gave to Jake Paul and Francis Ngannou over the last 5 years, and think about those executives who we're going to talk about in a second who had to step down. That money, if it was allocated to this guy Gabriel Stevenson, and they made him the household name of their men's divisions, and they, in 5 years from now, inarguably had the greatest heavyweight on the planet, now you're cooking with gas. They didn't foresee that, and they gave their money to Francis Ngannou. I think that money could have better been allocated to guys like Gabriel Stevenson moving forward, but that's kind of where businesses crumble at. So we're going to go and we're going to talk about this.
Real quick, I want to make a point on that. Okay, have you ever seen a PFL champion on fucking some talk show?
Wheaties Box or something? No,
just a talk show. Just like who's the shitty one? Jimmy Fallon. You ever seen a PFL champion be on Jimmy Fallon ever?
What's the shitty one?
That's all I gotta say.
What's the shitty one?
Jimmy Fallon. Hey, look. Jimmy Fallon is not funny. Jimmy Fallon fucking sucks.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
He's trash. He's trash. You know who else is trash? Jimmy Kimmel's trash too. All right. Give me Stephen Colbert. All right, that guy, and Jon Stewart. Yeah, I'm old. I'm 40. Okay, motherfuckers. But still, fuck the Jimmys. No, but end of the day, you've never seen a PFL champion on a talk show. No one's gonna give a shit. No one gives a shit. And you want to make money, and you want to have legacy and all that stuff that everyone likes to say that they want and everything. You don't do it at the PFL. Not right now. Now, John Martin, we can say we're right into the topic we're going to get into. John Martin making some moves, baby. PFL starting to cook with a little bit of gas. What we got there?
I don't know about that, Eddie. I think.
Oh, come on.
Gas. I think.
Come on.
John Davis has formally stepped down, the chairman and founder. Since this was World Series, there we go. It'll go right next to our Bellator hats soon.
I had it waiting. Oh, come on.
He's gonna retire that hat.
I thought about wearing the Bellator hat too, actually.
Anyway, Don Davis came out and said that he officially stepped down today, and none other than a predictable LinkedIn post, is which he announced that.
I loved it.
Happening. But anyway, Don Davis steps down. We're gonna talk about this seriously for a second. He stepped out from the PFL. Peter Murray has gone away. They have now put a figurehead in John Martin. They came out with a press release today that said they have acquired funding for 2026 and are looking forward to future events. What that means to me looking at this, the original investors out. They know that this thing's coming to an end soon. They acquired money for this next calendar year. I don't know if there will be events after this next calendar year. And I think they just put John Martin in there as a figurehead to maybe take off some of the heat. Like, he's got to be the guy that goes to the press conference. Don doesn't want to go to the press conference to talk about all this shit. They're going to put John Martin in there in that figurehead type Ray Sefo-esque situation for the president of the promotion. And I think they're going to exit stage left very quietly here. And if they can make a sale, they're going to do it. But if they can't, I think this is going into bankruptcy, guys.
Damn.
I don't know. I like you said, they have the new round of funding for this next year. I don't know. I think the PFL still might be holding on. This is one of two things. Either it's exactly what you're saying it is, and this is getting close to the end, or this is them fully transitioning away from the season format, the this, the that, and this is them trying to become a legitimate fight promotion that's viewed in this same light as the UFC, you know, just kind of a similar thing going on there, which we know that really hasn't worked for many in the past. But I feel like it really could just be a transition to, okay, we're starting new things. We're getting rid of the people that were with the old regime, you know? So I don't know if it really does spell the beginning of the end. It very well could, but I'd like to have the hope that with all these signings that they've recently made, that there's still some juice there. They've signed a lot of solid prospects as of late. So I'd like to think that there's some time to show these guys off.
I have one question about this. Don is the owner of this promotion, correct? Like, if it's bought or sold, he's the owner, right?
I don't know, honestly.
He was a founder. He founded it.
If I see an owner,
co-owner,
if I see an owner step down, like if Lorenzo or Fertitas would not have just stepped down without the company going away. You know what I'm saying? There's not a reason for an owner to step away, unless, in my opinion, unless the business is not going to be continue going and he wants to allocate his time to other businesses he's in.
Dude, you know how little people give a shit about this? They haven't even updated his Wikipedia. Usually that gets updated like that. No one gives a fuck.
Over under 100 likes on the LinkedIn post.
Ooh, I'm gonna go look. Oh, well, you have it? Okay, I'm gonna go under.
I'm gonna go over.
I don't have it in front of me.
Oh, I'll find it, dude. I'm like, God, I thought you had it, dude. I was like waiting for a good pair right here. Jesus Christ. Look.
Right, I'll look it up. It's right here.
All right.
I'm going over. That's his best social media platform. If you said Twitter, I'd go under.
He's
but.
big on LinkedIn, huh?
All right, hey, I got it right here. You want to say it? You want me to say it?
236.
Yeah,
236.
All right. So here's the thing about this. All right. Here's the thing about this. With all these guys stepping away and everything, it just seems like they're finally gonna pretend to be a serious freaking promotion, right? Let's be honest. I'm not saying you have to run exactly like the UFC, but this whole thought process where like we're gonna go we're gonna be completely different, and we're gonna go so different. We're gonna start promotions and everywhere around the world. Never let you watch them. In fact, we're not even gonna tell you that UFC Menace happening, that UFC fucking Bahrain's happening, that UFC, Somalia is happening. We're not going to tell you any of that shit. We're just going to literally 10 minutes for the first fight, we're going to put a little shitty little social media post and see if you watch it. And you know what you get? In the States, we can't fucking watch it. All right. So bottom line, this is John Martin reining all this stuff in. And maybe he talked Don Davis like, look, Don, you already embarrassed yourself enough in this thing, right? Do you guys remember that interview he did with the bald dude from MMA fighting? No offense, bald guy. Thank you, Mike. But Mike, I can't remember your name. My bad, dude. I didn't mean to call you bald, right? Although you are, so just be honest. But he asked John Davis, well, what's your favorite fight? And he's like, doctors don't watch doctor shows and cooks don't watch cooking shows. They fucking do. But yeah. And as soon as he said that, everybody knew this guy does not know shit.
Well, then Mike pressed him on it, and he was like, "No, just throw out a fight. Just throw out a fight." He's like, it's actually in boxing.
Yeah. He goes, boxing. And Mike's face in that clip is hilarious. He tried, and he did a really good job of keeping it together. Because I would have been like, "What? What do you mean boxing? You got nothing? No?
You know what? One of your promotion fights?
Like you're not a promoter."
It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, I was
that's why it failed, fellas. And when you look at this, Dana White has been in the fight business since he's been 25, 27 years age. He was the manager for Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell before he took over the UFC. Yeah. This is a fight guy. He didn't go to college. This is a guy who's bred by the fight game since his.
Well, you got to get in. I'm joking.
Don Davis is a guy who's a capital venture. Money guy on Wall Street, a finance guy, worked in banking, all that sort of shit. He is not a fight guy. When you get into a business that you know nothing about, I don't care how much money you have, you're not going to be successful at that business over someone who has 20 years of applicable knowledge and experience. It's just not going to work. If Dana and his boys went over and started doing capital venture firms and shit, they wouldn't do as good as Don Davis and his boys did, I'm sure. It's just you're a lion that's swimming with sharks in the ocean. You know what I'm saying? On land, you're great, but you're not in your realm. And for me, Don Davis was never in his realm as the owner of the Professional Fighting League or whatever chairman he was in that position. He was never in his realm. He is not a fight guy. He does not know the history of this sport. He does not know the matchups that can produce stars and where stars can fall into traps against guys because of this situation and this situation in fights like you're talking about with Walter Walker and Gable Stevenson. He knows nothing about any of that. So this guy was out of touch from the beginning, in my opinion, and that's why the promotion failed.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. You're very on point with that assessment. I mean, he's just not a fight guy. I mean, he said it himself, which is just stupid. You can't be a fight guy in this industry. You cannot be a fight guy in this industry.
He was a guy that could be talked into stupid shit like signing Jake Paul for 3 years and having the guy never even what Jake Paul did like a commercial. I don't know. I wonder how much you paid for that.
They had to have paid $50 million to him and Francis for one fight.
3 minutes
combined.
3 minutes of fight. 3 minutes of fight time.
Yeah, no,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah, so that's basically what happened, right? So now we get a serious guy. We assume a serious guy in John Martin. So now I'm very interested in PFL. Now I want to see okay, real quick. Just I'll get 2 seconds to do this. Okay, John, change the entire broadcast team. I know some people love Dan Hardy. I do too. Make him be a commentator or one of those rolling guys. Okay,
fire everyone else left on board, John.
Fire fucking everybody else. All right. Get me CJ back in PR. Get me Danny Brenner. All right, get back in PR. Get rid of what's that asshole that like give you shit for asking the question about Ngannou?
Oh, Coachman.
Get rid of him yesterday. Replace him with Pat McAfee. All right, and you
before we got an answer on Ngannou was gone, and so was Davis.
Yes, he was. God damn, dude. I love MMA, dude. Don't you?
Coachman was the master of avoiding questions.
He's a master. Never mind. Go ahead. I can't say that, dude.
So anyway, I hope the PFL works out. I love the fighters over there. Dalton Rasta, I think, is a very entertaining fighter. He could be good in WWE. He's a big personality for him. Dakota Ditcheva, big personality. She'd be great in the UFC. They got Usman Nurmagomedov. They got all these guys. And guys, when we talk about the fights that are coming up for them, there are good cards coming up. We got 2 undefeated welterweights, Ramazan Kuramagomedov and Shamil Musayev, fighting each other. And they're arguably 2 of the top 5 talents in the world at 170 pounds, regardless of promotions. So they do have good fighters. Now, my question to you guys is, how soon is it, if I'm right, and if this is the end, and things are slowing down here, and they're just trying to keep getting capital money, sent to them, and at what point do the UFC start plucking guys from their roster and they can't do anything about it?
I mean, they already have in a sense, right? Horiguchi, Patchy Mix, Kayla Harrison. We've already seen some of their biggest stars plucked from the roster as soon as those contracts were up. Literally, as soon as those contracts were up, the UFC had them. Pitbull, too. I mean, some of their biggest stars on the roster. So we've already kind of seen it, but I don't know. I think that it would probably be towards the end of the year, if anything, if we start to see more of those guys start to move over. But it really just depends on where that promotion's at, how these rounds of investing are going to go for them, and if they can really make a change.
I'll tell you this. We will know what's going to happen with PFL at the end of the year. We will know by July, right? Because if they start cutting fat in terms of contracts, fighters, staff, then we're gonna know that they're gonna be positioning themselves to sell. And at that point, if I'm Dana White, I don't buy him. I let him drown, and I pluck whoever I want for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too, because as we mentioned, they have guys that could and women that could compete at the UFC level and do very well and be very marketable. I think Dakota Ditcheva would come over and be a international superstar in the UFC, given the way that they can build stars. So they have a lot of talent out there that the UFC could use. And I do hope that the PFL under John Martin turns a new leaf and gets this thing going, because nobody wants a monopoly in this sport. It is not good for the fighters. And you got to have more avenues to get paid by other.
Call Siege, damn it. We need CJ back in the game. God damn. What's CJ doing these days?
I saw him. He was at the Hard Rock Seminole for
he was with PFL?
Yeah, he's working PFL. I don't think I don't know. Not gonna. Great guy.
John,
I love CJ
John.
Tuttle. Fucking helped my career more than anybody I know.
Hey, John, put John.
And I hope he's more involved with the PFL than what he is.
John, put CJ in charge. Okay, go ahead.
CJ and Jimmy back. Let's go.
Yes,
For real, Jimmy.
He could run that shit himself.
Anyway, yeah, I love CJ.
Anyway, we're going to move on here to Conor McGregor, who there's a little bit of controversy with the UFC and the Paramount Plus deal. There's no pay-per-view points. Dana kind of talked about it a little bit in some press conferences before the end of the year. But now the biggest star in the UFC's history has had thought of a comeback, and he's thinking about what type of paycheck he's going to get when he comes back. And it's not necessarily going to be the same one that he signed for with pay-per-view points. So it looks like Conor McGregor wants to go back to the negotiating table here to try and get probably more upfront money than what his current deal has. I'm assuming that there's a lot of backload onto the pay-per-view points because he is such a big pay-per-view selling star. That's probably what him and his team wanted. So, Eddie, what do you think about the contract negotiations? You've been around the sport longer than anybody. Guys coming back like Randy Couture and all this and contract disputes. Do you think the UFC gives him the money he's looking for? And how much of a difference do you think there is between Conor McGregor's team and where they think his value is at and the UFC, who knows his current status and where he would be at from a competitive level?
I mean, look, anytime that dude posts anything, it blows up. Anything he posts still. And he's lost his last, 2 or 3? You know what I mean? Like I get what Perez is saying. Like an owner that actually values their money and would actually not give him much of a contract there. I think it's gonna be difficult for him to get what I think he wants. Right? I think he's gonna end up with like the same contract as everybody else because it's true. His contract is more than likely so overloaded on pay-per-view points because he is the best salesman when it comes to pay-per-views. No one has done it at his level fucking ever. So Conor's gonna go in there and be like, all right, his team's going to be like, all right, cool, we need to figure this out. And the UFC needs to do the right thing and figure it out, right? Because it is not fair now that pay-per-views are done that this guy's going to get paid jack shit. Say whatever you want about Conor McGregor, whether you love him or hate him. He's still one of the biggest, I won't say the biggest, but one of the biggest names in the sport still. And haven't fought in like 10 years. So I think they give him a contract. I don't think it's going to be what he wants. I think they're going to be like, all right, look, we're going to give you this contract here. Go out here and win us this fight, whatever, and then we'll talk. And it's going to be a White House fight. Now, I don't think he fights after the White House card. I think I think that's the last one, personally. I mean, why would you want to keep fighting at that point, right? He only fought 3-4 years. Like, I mean, the Conor McGregor like redemption arc is hilarious. He went down, hookers, blow, cheating on his girlfriend, all kinds of shit. Came back up, found religion, got married. At least pretending like he's married and shit and all this stuff. And now he's like multiple kids. Now he's tweeting now he's on Twitter going, God, let me be a good force for your good and all this other shit. He's playing the John Jones, thing. I think it's an act. I think it's a complete act. I also don't care because he's just his own person. Do you think, Conor? Just fighting there more. But they'll give him a contract, but it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be like the size that he wants. Yeah.
What do you think about this, Pat? Do you think we see him come back before the end of the year, or is this negotiation going to last a couple months?
I think this negotiation will last a bit. I mean, he'll, if anything, he'll fight on that White House card, like Eddie said, and then ride off into the sunset. I mean, personally, I'm just kind of over the whole Conor thing. I mean, he's part of the reason why I do what I do. It's part of the reason I have interest in this sport. Him and Khabib was such a massive fight. I mean, he's been in a lot of massive fights, but how often do we see guys come out of a 5-year retirement? By the time that White House card comes up, it's going to be 5 years since he last fought. How often do we see that? And how successful is it going to be? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I really don't know what to think about Conor anymore and what his fighting future looks like. So I'm more just waiting to see. I really don't have any anticipation. I don't have any care, to be quite honest. I'm really just waiting to see what he decides to end up doing.
Eddie, you'd have to fact check me on this one. George St. Pierre, when he stopped at 170 pounds after that fight with Johnny Hendricks and then came back against Michael Bisping, was that more than a 5-year gap? And to Pat's point, that's the only time I can remember a historic champion.
It was 4 years. I just checked it.
4 years?
4 years.
Yep.
Now, that's the only time I can remember for a similar stretch, like Pat said. This does not happen. But to Pat's point and Eddie's point, is he taking his body as seriously as GSP was? GSP spent LeBron James, Russell Wilson level attention to his body and keeping it at a peak performance level. He's probably in better shape than Conor McGregor right now. If I had to pick which one's going to finish a mile quicker, if they went and ran, I'd probably bet on GSP, right? So I don't know if Conor McGregor is the same 38, 39-year-old that GSP was when he returned against Michael Bisping. That's kind of
and also the thing with GSP, I mean, he left on a 12 fight winning streak. What did McGregor leave on? You know, even 5 years ago, he wasn't good. You know, I just don't know what to expect from this. I mean, a Masvidal matchup would be perfect because Masvidal hasn't fought in a couple of years either, really. But at the same time, I mean, I really don't have any anticipation, and I really don't have much care until something's actually done, because I feel like it's just going to be another game of chicken with him, just same way it was with Chandler.
And I find myself, sorry, real quick, just as like I would think all three of us are hardcore fans, right? We cover the damn thing. So, as a hardcore fan, I don't care if Conor fights again. I'm done. I don't care. He's from the start from the beginning of his career to now. He's always been a guy, 100%. He's always been a guy that has been for the casuals, not for us at all, right? Was it the shit talk funny? Who the fuck is that guy? Yeah, it was great. The fights, the shit he was doing was incredible. And then, but you keep doing the same thing over and over. It gets old. The line, he used to rehearse his lines. He remember back in the day, he was like fucking quick with it. Those were rehearsed. And I can tell you that because when he stopped rehearsing, he sounded like shit. He sounded like everybody else, and it was dog shit. There's a reason pressers don't fucking matter anymore, because they suck, because this guy stopped rehearsing his lines. All right, so go back to rehearsing your lines there, Conor. I would appreciate that. End of the day, I don't care. I hope he fights. I hope he does well. I really do hope he's really like legitimately turning his life around, because I do think he's that he could be a really good human being, right? And I root for that. But in terms of him ever fighting again or getting paid, I don't care. I'm not gonna be one of those guys that, you know, back in the day when people talk shit about Conor and online they'd be like, well, he makes more money than you, bro. His wallet's fat. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Now, Eddie, we have the first PED suspension since the loss of USADA here, and
I love it.
Mo Usman pops hot. Is the first athlete that we've seen recently to get these PED strikes. I couldn't believe Mo Usman popped hot. Good God.
He must have messed something up in those tests. Switched him with someone else's or something.
They switched him and Chase Hooper.
Seriously, though. I mean, like, one of the least surprising
Muhammad
pops.
Usman pops hot here.
Bro.
If you're popping hot in the non-USADA era, you know how hot that piss has to be. You're melting cups with that piss at that point. So,
dude, that machine blew up.
Get this guy out of the UFC. I don't want to see him fight again. He sucked while he was in here. He didn't finish any. He knocked out one dude, Zach Pwaga, in devastating fashion. After that, it's been dud. He doesn't really – he can't put it together. If he hits you with a big right hand as you're coming in, you're going to go to sleep. But outside being a tremendous athlete, he has no grappling. He doesn't really have a delivery system to get that power home on a lot of guys. I don't know. He's not the best fighter in the world. I don't want to see him again.
The only reason he got in the UFC is because they put him in an awful, tough season of heavyweights. None of those heavyweights that were on that tough season are decent fighters anymore. Not a single one of them. A couple of them have lost to some decent fighters since then, but none of those guys have ever turned out to be anything. And Mo Usman was the best. He started his UFC career with a 3-fight win streak, and now he's 1-2 in his last 3 with losses to guys like Thomas Peterson and Mick Parkin. You know, who, don't get me wrong, they're all right, but they're just not anything special. He's 36. He's going to be suspended for 2.5 years. He's going to come back by the time he's 39, almost 40. He's done, in my opinion. That's it for him.
He's not coming back to the UFC ever. All right, 2.5 years. Like, how are you gonna keep yourself in shape for 2.5 years without losing motivation? All kinds of shit. Right now, he was a better defensive end than he was a freaking fighter. I'll tell you that right now. He played at the University of Arizona when I was there as a student. I think right after I graduated. I think so. Either way, the story I have of him is one of my friends is Shaq Richardson. He used to be a corner for the Arizona Wildcats. Went on to play for the Steelers and a handful of teams. And we used to do a show together. And he told me a story that one time he was sitting inside in the University of Arizona locker room. There's like these couches you can sit on. He was sitting on a couch, and Usman came from behind him and like grabbed him by the neck like this and picked him up out of his seat. That's the story I got from him. And I was just like, he what? He's like, yeah, dude. So I had Dylan Rush interviewed Usman. And I told him, ask him about that story, and he almost broke. He had the straight face because he likes to play the character. He almost broke when he told us, like, "Did you almost choke out your teammate Shaq Richardson in the U of A locker room?" And he goes, "Yes." Like that's all he does, and it's like, "Yeah, dude, fuck yeah." So anyway, Muhammad Usman, career's over. There's no reason. Just go do what you got to do, bro. But doing this was stupid, and not to mention, you're like all that buffness for nothing. Do you go into fights doing this shit right here? And then you just pitter patter, hug, pitter patter, hug. Literally leaning forward like this.
That's the thing. He looks the way he does. He was juicing, and he has went to decision in his past 5 fights.
He looks like Tarzan and plays like Jane, as they say in football.
That's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is. So either way, look, man, it's a what do they call? What do they say? Drug test or intelligence test? He's an idiot.
There you have it. All right, fight fans, we have a couple of announcements on some fights that we're going to give to you guys here that have came out over the last couple days. And then we're going to head out until next week. You can catch us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right, fight fans, this is what we got recently coming directly from the UFC. Josh Emmett will take on Kevin Vallejos. Kevin Vallejos is a prospect that Eddie is very high on, a young, very athletic guy. What do you think about this matchup, Pat? He's fighting Josh Emmett, who might be one of the hardest hitters that we've seen at that weight class in its history. Very interesting matchup.
Vallejos having success in the UFC was not a surprise at all. If you saw his DWCS fight against John Silva, he was so young when that fight happened, and he won that first round and then was just slowed down a bit after a crazy pace in round 1, lost the decision. But that's his only loss. He is a crazy hard hitter. His DWCS win was electric. I mean, he came into the UFC with a big knockout too. Vallejos is a very unsurprising guy to be in the rankings, near the rankings. And I think this is just a straight up setup fight for him. Emmett's old. He has the power. He still has the one-hit quitter power, but I feel like Vallejos' pressure, his volume, and just his arsenal of strikes is going to cause Emmett some real problems. And especially at Emmett's age, I just don't think that Emmett is going to be able to stand in there and land the shot the way he wants to.
Yeah. What do you think about this one, Eddie? Kevin's your boy.
Kevin's gonna go in there and do his thing, and we're all of Josh Emmett fans are gonna be like, "It's so hard to say goodbye," because he's gonna kill this dude and send the dude out the UFC and into retirement, 100%.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Eddie on that too. I think this is it for Emmett. I think probably.
And Josh Emmett did us a fucking service. Okay, let's be honest. That dude did us a service killing fucking Bryce Mitchell.
But the thing is, after that fight with Bryce Mitchell, Eddie,
after
that fight with Bryce Mitchell, he takes a year and a half off. Everybody wants to see Josh Emmett fight again, and he's this hot commodity fighter.
Hey,
and he's like,
bro,
I'm going to take my ball and go home.
No, that's not what he – no, Josh Emmett blasphemy here, okay? He was taking a victory lap because he did the world a favor killing a dumbass, all right? He was like – he went – you know where he went? He went from here to Brazil. He did high fives over by the statue. Then he went over to Poland, high fives with JJ next to him. Then he went over to Germany, drinking a beer with a chick with big old titties in and those fucking dresses with things coming up, just fucking high-fiving everybody. Now I'm playing with you. He absolutely fucked that up. He should have totally – capitalized on that, but is what it is. I mean, he got hurt too.
All of Emmett's wins too have just been because of his
started.
right hand, of the power he possesses. Even his decision wins are because he's dropped guys in the fight and taken rounds off them. He could land that on Vallejos and potentially hurt him, but I just think that Vallejos' damage is going to add up a lot quicker than Emmett's is, and I think it's going to be a quick fight, to be honest. I don't think it's going to last too long.
All right, we'll break it down more as it comes closer to that fight. But we have Raul Rosas Jr. scheduled again versus Rob Font, initially scheduled for UFC Noche. Had to switch that around after Raul pulled out of the fight. Rebooked this time after Font comes out victorious at Noche. Fighting Raul Rosas Jr. I see this one classic striker versus grappler, veteran versus up-and-comer. If Raul Rosas Jr. can get this fight to the ground, Rob Font's going to have serious trouble. If Rob Font can stop the takedown, this one's going to be a technically fought fight on the feet where I see Rob Font getting the better of the advantage. What do you think, Pat?
I think you're 100% on point there. From what I know, they've been trying to make this fight for like a year and a half at this point. This has been something they've wanted to do for a while now. So the fact that it's happening finally, or at least is booked again, doesn't surprise me at all. I think they want to see Rosas win because he's been quiet lately. We haven't heard really anything about the Raul Rosas hype train that he was when he came into the UFC. So getting him a win over a guy like Rob Font, I think, is what they're trying to do here. But Font's still tough. He's still a tricky vet. Like you said, he clearly has the boxing edge in this fight. And I think Raul's going to need to show what he's been doing in this time off, that he hasn't been fighting as much. He hasn't been getting as much attention. He's going to need to show better wrestling just because his grappling is incredible. We know once he gets to the floor, he's a monster. But getting the fight to the floor could be an issue for him. So I think that's what we're really going to need to see here. We know Font's takedown defense isn't the best. So I think that, if Raul works on his wrestling enough, he should be able to get this fight down and probably get Font out of there, if not Cruz.
Yeah, they've been wanting to make this fight so much, okay? When Dominic Cruz pulled out of that fight against Rob Font, the first person they called was Raul Rosas Jr., and they tried to make it happen, and Raul just couldn't make the wave on time for the fight. So they've been trying to get this fight going. So you're absolutely right. And you know, it's just a step up fight, right? Raul's gonna, you know, win this fight and move on up, and Rob Font's gonna be like, oh shucks, get him next time, like Russell Wilson. That's what Rob Font reminds me. Russell Wilson. I've always thought Rob Font was like Russell Wilson, and just like, oh shucks, I'll get him next time in the freaking Super Bowl.
I mean, Raul hasn't fought in a year too, you know, because of that canceled fight. Raul has only fought once in 2025, and it was a win over Vince Morales in March. You know, so he definitely needs to garner some hype back here, and I think that's exactly what they're trying to do. Is just get him a ranked opponent.
Luckily for him, he's young. If Raul did that at 30, 35, 36, 37, we'd be like, that's a problem. He's a baby, so he's 21. He's a baby.
It's great. It's crazy.
Unbelievable. Another fight that we have to talk about is the young Hispanic upstart David Martinez, who also picked up a win at UFC Noche. He will be returning against Ecuador's favorite son, Chito Vera, former title challenger as well. This is going to be a very interesting contest because both of these guys are strikers. Both of these guys are aggressive. Chito Vera, kind of a counter striker at times. David Martinez, you know, he looked very good last time out. What do you think about this one, Pat? Is it too big of a step up for David Martinez? Or do you think Chito Vera is just so late in his career that, you know, we might be nearing the end of the road for him?
I don't think Chito is a ranked fighter anymore, if you want my honesty. Skill-wise, I don't think Chito has shown that he's a ranked fighter for a couple fights, you know? Even the Pedro Munoz fight, me and my friends watched it live. We thought he lost, you know? Like, and Pedro Munoz is far from being ranked at this point. I think David Martinez is going to cruise. I think he's going to be able to hit Chito with almost whatever he wants to for the most part. I know Chito's defense is good, but I think Martinez is just going to show, honestly, levels at this point. He's so much more hungry. He's honestly just a very exciting, very explosive fighter. I was very hyped about him before the Contender Series, after his Contender Series fight, and to see him, you know, go out there and beat Font the way he did, go out there and now have a fight against Chito Vera. I love to see him climbing the rankings. And if you want me to be honest, this is the most confident I've been in a fight in a bit. Like, I don't see David Martinez losing this fight.
He won't. He's younger. He's faster, more athletic, more hungry. And Chito Vera has regressed. Say what you want, people.
Significantly.
He has regressed. He is not at all the same guy that used to come in. And he's tried to change so many things that he doesn't really know who he is anymore in terms of a fighter. I don't think we know who the fuck he is anymore as a fighter. We don't.
Lack of output. The lack of
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the lack of output from what I'm seeing from Chito Vera. That fight with Rob Font, right, where he had 3 knockdowns and then ended up winning by decision, but he got outstruck by like 100 total strikes in that fight, right? He's having to rely on these counter strikes and, you know, 3 solid connections, a fight to sway judges' scorecards. I don't see him putting the same level of volume on people than what we saw earlier in his career. I think that output has diminished or, you know, gone down significantly as he's gone later in his career. But
the playbook's out there.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Sorry, I was saying the playbook's out there on Chito. You know how to beat him at this point. We've seen multiple guys beat him recently. And as Eddie's point that he regressed, Figueiredo dropped him. His whole big thing was his chin, the damage he could take. And then Figueiredo dropped him for the first time in his career 2 fights ago. So I think everything has regressed to this point. So yeah.
All right, fight fans, that's our breakdown for UFC 324 and all things coming from the mixed martial arts world. We will be back next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, bringing you coverage from next week's UFC Fight Night card as well. We're going to get back on a normal schedule here, and we'll be back on Wednesday nights. Thanks for joining us.
Go Cards, hire the right guy. All right, don't be douchebags, cheap fuck.